Hello and welcome, you beautiful bookish people. Obviously, you know what this video is going to be about, and I am scared. I'm scared to film this because this was so freaking hard to make a list of all of the characters that I love so dearly from Sarah J Maas's books. It feels disrespectful to leave some characters out, but when I only have 20 to choose from and I have to rank those 20, I feel like I'm gonna get some backlash, but we're gonna do it anyway because it's fun. Here's how it's gonna go. I have my list on my phone of all of the people that I wanted to include, and I have my books, and I'm gonna hold up which book coordinates with the character. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you have read the whole Maasverse. If not, I'm gonna keep this spoiler free to the highest degree that I possibly can, but obviously you listening to my opinions on these characters is I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler, because then it kind of tells you, like, if there's a character that, you know, you start out not liking and then you hear me be like, oh my god, I love them, you're like, well, what the crap, Brooke, like this happened. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just be cautious, and I'm not responsible for spoiling anything for you. I'm just gonna say that. Okay. Okay, my god, I'm so scared. Number 20 is from Throne of Glass. We have Nesrin Falick. I loved her character. I think the way that she was introduced was incredibly unfortunate, and the situation that she was put in, I was like, oh, girl, you go you, because, oh my gosh, that's really unfortunate. But getting to see her character development through, I almost said Throne of Glass, through Tower of Dawn, and how her story kind of ends, or begins, I guess you could say, I loved watching her, and I feel like she was such a cool character because she's completely human in a fantasy world, which is really rare. So you don't have the insane magic, you don't have, like, she's just a good archer, but that's all that she needs to be. And I think that's kind of why I love her so much, is because she was so badass in a fantasy world as a human. I think that's really freaking cool. Oh, y'all are gonna be mad at me for this one, especially after I tell you another character that's later in the— Hey, Guppy. Hey, sir. Can you at least say hi? It's rude. It's rude to not say hi when you're all up in my business. Oh no, my book. Like I was saying, hey, that's my coffee. You don't get to have my coffee. Number 19, Cassian. Now, before you yell at me, I am not the biggest fan of Cassian. And I know what you're gonna say. Okay, well then do you like Nesta? Yes, I am a Nesta girly through and through. I am getting a Climb the Mountain tattoo this summer. I love her so much. I was not a fan of Cassian. Okay, well I say that and he's on my list. I do like him as his own character, but in this sense, I don't think he's good for Nesta at all. And I think he's just kind of like a cozy character. But the reason I put him on this list is because he's such a good friend to Feyre. But his loyalty and his determination, and also Lord Bloodshed, he's a freaking warrior that's basically the best in the world. So, like, that's really cool. But also, like, he's hilarious with his stinking allergies and Briaxis, and he's just fun. I do enjoy him on the page. He's not my favorite. He's not my favorite. So that's why he's down at number 19. Okay, I'm gonna move on before somebody keeps yelling at me. Number 18 is Gavriel. I loved Gavriel. I think he was so sweet and genuine, and I feel like he had the purest heart of all of Rowan's cadre, I don't know how you say it actually. And I enjoyed when he was on the— he just felt like a dad, but not like a cringy dad, like the sweet dad that you want to be your dad. I love you, Dad. If you're watching this, my father, I love you. But what I'm saying is, it was nice to have that, like, actually a good father figure. Because I feel like in fantasy books, it's like all of the parents and dads and, like, any sort of male authority figure is just like a piece of crap. And so it was good to have him just be sweet. But yeah, number 18, Gavriel. I love him. I love him. Okay. Number 17. This is gonna be kind of— this is controversial because of where I put Cassian. Number 17 is Eris Van Sarah. Guys, I made a video on TikTok talking about how I think there is way more going on to Eris than we get to see, especially reading Silver Flames. And the inner circle is so biased every time they talk about Eris. They're always so quick to immediately be like, he's being scrapped, which I know there are characters that you can do that immediately, just like, he's being scrapped. But this, oh, the fact that Eris won't talk about it and is like, hey, just ask more. I'm gonna tell you, more is not on this list. I'm also not a big fan of her. But the reason I love Eris is because he's just like, he's mysterious, but like silver-tongued, but also the scene in Silver Flames with Nesta, that's all that I'm gonna say. Number 16 is from Crescent City, is Hunt ACOTAR. And I know some people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, why did you put a male main character so low on the list? Guys, I think he's a little bland for my taste. I'm a sucker for like tortured past, broody, but like squishy heart characters. And his loyalty to Bryce was incredible because literally in the middle of whatever is going on in the book, he's literally thinking in the back of his brain like, yo, this is triggering in so many ways, but I love her, so I'm gonna get over my trauma so I can help her. Even when Bryce was being a little sassy, we'll call it sassy, and not being a good girlfriend. But we'll get to that in a minute. Number 15 is Asterin Blackbeak. Guys, I was confused when in Heir of Fire they introduced all of the witches, but very quickly I was like, oh, first of all, love Manon. We'll get to her in a minute. But Asterin, I was like, oh girl, you know what's up. And even though the person that you're loyal to doesn't know what's up, you're the MVP. The love that she showed and the loyalty and just her backstory too, how she overcame all of that because she believed in Manon so much. I can't get over that. There's nothing, she can't do any wrong. And that's crazy to say about a side character, but I think Throne of Glass side characters are superior. Number 14 is Lahaba. I love Lahaba. I am a sucker for those just like really sweet side characters that just like are encouraging and kind of like smack the main character upside the head with reality a little bit, but I feel like she's just such a cozy character. Again, without spoiling anything, that girl, this little fire sprite, it makes me want to get a tattoo for her because I cannot imagine being in her position and doing what she did. Again, this is hard to talk about without actually telling you and completely explaining, but if you know, you know. Number 13 is also from Crescent City. We're going with Bryce Quinlan. Miss Bryce. Oof. I think it took me a little longer to get attached to her than it did for me to get attached to like Feyre, Aelin, Nesta, all of that stuff, but she gets a lot of hate for things that I'm like, that's just her personality. Like, I feel like her and Nesta, if they lived in the same universe, would be close friends. I think they would get along and kind of understand each other. And granted, like I said earlier with Hunt, something in House of Flame and Shadow was off with her, and I'm waiting for that kind of like reveal as to what was going on. And I've heard some insane theories, but I think there's some of the relationship issues kind of threw me off in House of Flame and Shadow. Don't get me wrong, I know it gets a bad rep, but like, I loved I rated House of Flame and Shadow 5 stars. I don't know what y'all read, and I'm just living in my own little world, my own little bubble, because I ate it up. I thought it was phenomenal. No, fantastic, phenomenal. That's what I was trying to say. Phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay, we're just gonna invent new words. I think Bryce is so relatable too, in not necessarily not wanting to grow up, but also F the patriarchy. That's the kind of vibes that she was giving me, and I was loving it. But I like that she had a relationship with her mother. That, again, is very rare in fantasy books. Usually the parents are dead. Honestly, I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but when I thought of Bryce and I was making my list, it just made sense to put her here. I love her. And number 12, we're going back to ACOTAR, is Feyre Archeron. I love Feyre. I think she's a perfect mix of the strong FMC, but like still has those gentle qualities about her. And ACOTAR got me back into reading, so she's definitely gonna have a special place in my heart. Granted, she's not like my all-time favorite, but also I think her intentions in the series are so real. I feel like as we're getting higher into the list, I'm losing words to describe these characters because I'm just, at this point, I'm just like sitting here in awe. I'm like, now that I'm thinking about all of them, I'm like, I love you. But I am excited for her and Reese to just be like, I guess, relatively chilling now. She's not my favorite, but I love her. I love her so much. And she's one of those, I guess you could kind of say comfort characters just because she's an OG. And like, you can't not love Feyre. That's what I keep going back to. Like, you can't not love, I mean, I guess you could. But I think overall, she's just a good person. Number 11. This is kind of a spoiler because if you have only read this book or like not read Crescent City, all you're gonna be like, and you hear this character, you're gonna be like, why the crap do you like her? I'm gonna say this, and then if you don't want to hear anything about her, I'll have you skip to this part, but she's gonna be on the list, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Lydia Servos. Number 11. I love Lydia. I love her. She just reminded me of Aelin so much. We'll get to Aelin in a minute. But anyways, she was one of those characters that it's a shame that she had to be strong and deal with what she did, but she handled it, I think honestly, the best way that she could have handled anything. Like if I was in her position, dude, I don't even know. And like her story is so heartbreaking and she has so many layers. I can't get enough of her. Every time she's on the page, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a good scene because Lydia's here. Yeah, without going into too much detail, that's what I think about her. Number 10 is Lysandra. Lysandra NR. I feel like she has one of the best character arcs in Throne of Glass. One of the best. Not the best, but one of the best. She was one of those characters that saw how crappy their situation was, but it's like, nope, okay, we're gonna deal with this, and this is how we're gonna do it. I respect that so much. And I think during the whole war situation, she was dealt the worst cards, and some of the other characters around her were not understanding, were not nice to her. She's one of those characters that I'm like, yeah, that's real. That's so real. And, you know, you're introduced to her in a very interesting way, but she's a smart woman. That's all I have to say about her. I love her. I love her. Number 9 is Fenris Moonbeam. I love that man. He's just, every time I think about him, I want to give him a hug, but also I want him to tell me jokes because he's hilarious. And also like, this is creepy, but I just want to watch him with Aelin. I love their dynamic. Obviously, yay, trauma bonds, woohoo. He's just pure. And I think he's one of my, I mean, obviously he's number 9 in a universe where there's so many characters. He's number 9. Every time he's in a scene, I'm like, yes, I love you. Number 8 is Azriel. I love Azriel. And I know what you're thinking, like, Brooke, he barely says any words. That's the point. Because if you don't say a lot of words, the words that you do say have impact. You know, I'm sitting here yapping and I'm saying that, but it's okay. It's fine. I'm a woman of many words. And every time that he talks, it's just delicious. Again, with the broody, tragic past, moody, like, tall, dark, and handsome, powerful. You don't really know everything about him. This is a spoiler, like major spoiler. If you haven't read House of Sky and Breath, House of Flame and Shadow, go here. Getting him in Crescent City, oh my god. I feel like that was kind of like what solidified his spot in my list because bonus chapter, oh my god, it was so good. It was so good and I just love him. Okay, that's all. Number 7, we're getting pretty close to the top. We're getting close. Number 7 is Manon Blackbeak. Oh, Manon. I liked her from Air of Fire, and I feel like she was one of those characters and I'm like, you're gonna have to do some growing here. And like, I like her as is, and she's very much like cutthroat, just intense, and I love her for that. But also like her relationship with Abraxas. I almost put Abraxas on this list, but I was like, does that count? She's barefoot. Hold on, do you see this? She's barefoot. Anyways, the way that she was incredibly involved involved in what was happening with the witches, and then all of a sudden when stuff was revealed about that, she was like, oh, and then decided to just be like, all right, frick, I'm gonna go off on my own and we're gonna do this thing. Her and her witches, the 13. Honestly, the 13 should just be the top 13 at this point. Number 6. Rune Den, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae. Honestly, I don't know if I have the words to describe how much I love Rune. I'd seen fan art of him, I'd heard a little bit about him and whatever, and I didn't think I was gonna be a fan. Like, he's not necessarily like my type. Well, I say that, and he's got black hair, blue eyes, and shadow powers, and daddy issues. Never mind. I don't know, I'm just giddy. The way that he loves Bryce. Oh my god. I wish I had an older brother to experience the type of love and dedication that Rune has to Bryce. But he's also another one of those characters that feel like Lysandra. He just like, oh, this is a crappy situation. You know what? Let's get over it and let's figure out something to do. I think he's not necessarily like an emotional kind of guy, but also he's not afraid to show those emotions, I guess. I don't know. Something about him I just love. Number 5. Oh my god, we're getting into the top 5. This is crazy. Dorian Havillard. Dorian. Phantom Hands. I'll bleed whatever color you freaking tell me to. His story was tragic. He's witty. He's got some game. Obviously, yeah, that does make me like him more. But again, he's another one of those that like, his heart is so pure. He deals with everything with grace. He's one of those characters too that like, I didn't find myself getting mad at him at all. Like all of the things, all the decisions that he was making, I guess I just understood him. And all of the things that he decided to do, I was like, yeah, like I would probably do that in your position. Like he was real. Again, how could you not like Dorian? Like if you really read this series and paid attention, how could you not like him? He's one of those that like, I would be your best friend. Give me an opportunity, you're my best friend. Number 4 is Rhysand. The one and only Rhysand. He is so special to me because this was the first like love story, I guess you could, well, okay, I've read other books before ACOTAR, but this is the first love story that I actually attached to, and the way that he cares for Feyre and all of the decisions that he made under the mountain. I'm a sucker for those stories that's like he does something for her that he thinks nothing is ever gonna come of it, but he does it anyway because he's so in love. That was definitely Rhys. Oh, there's a hawk! Hi, Rowan! But the way that he cares for his found family and literally like nothing else in the world matters but that. I mean, okay, Valaris matters. When the Night Court matters. He's so dedicated. But watching Feyre fall in love with him, I think was so special. Obviously, Feyre's in love with him. So you're gonna see a positive side to him. And then in Silver Flames, a lot of people were like, yo, what happened to Rhys? I feel like he was terrible. I'm like, hey, guess what? It's because it's from Nesta's point of view. And do Nesta and Rhys get along? No. But I love Nesta and I love Rhys. And I think it's possible to love them both, but also understand both of their points of view and not hate one or the other just because you love the other one. We're gonna hit pause on that. Number 3. Rowan freaking Whitethorn. Oh my god, Rowan. I think some people are sitting here like, oh my god, Rowan's so bland. What do you mean? What do you mean? He was a perfect example of letting a woman shine. He's just there to help her. And the one line, honestly, I don't think I'm gonna say a lot about Rowan because I can't, like, it's one of those characters I can't explain it except for this one line in Kingdom of Ash, which if you don't want to hear the line, I'll let you skip to this part. It was the line when he said, if she, talking about Aelin, doesn't return to who she was before, he would not love her any less. I think I'm gonna start crying. Rowan, I love you. These top spots, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm going back and forth. So at this point, they're kind of tied. Number 2, Nesta Archeron. Silver Flames is my comfort book. I honestly I need to read it like at least once a year, if not once a quarter. At this point, I know her character is messy. I know that she made some bad decisions and she struggles with that and it affects her life, obviously very intensely. But hearing her inner monologue and relating to some of the things that she was feeling, I'm at a loss for words. I love her so much. I feel like she's so misunderstood. In every video that I post about her, I get some random commenter that's like, but she did this, this, and this, and this. I'm like, hey guys, first of all, this is actually so unserious because these are fake people. These are literally words and ink on paper. So the fact that I'm sitting here rating them is kind of funny, but I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to like, you have to love her. But for me, she's number 2. Honestly, I envy people that don't completely understand her story. You can relate to it at all. If you can't relate to that, good for you. But also, if you can, I see you, I get you, I understand you, and nobody can make me hate her. And I don't want to get too serious about it, but I love her. You can't convince me otherwise. I think we all know who's coming. Drum roll, please. Number 1, Aelin Ash River Galathinius, heir of 2 mighty bloodlines. We're not gonna go into that right now. Aelin. The way that she went from like, I don't need to do anything, it doesn't matter, whatever, to, yeah, I probably should do something, to, yeah, I have to do something, to, I'm doing this and nobody's gonna stop me, was crazy. I feel like of all the characters that Sarah has written, she's got it the worst. And it's funny how that works, that sometimes the worst situations make my most favorite people. She's hilarious. She knows what she's worth, which I've seen so many memes about, like, fantasy books. The main character will be like, oh, I'm not pretty at all. Oh, don't call me pretty. Her, she's like, I'm it. I'm the bomb diggity. That's just, she's like, yeah, that's me. She will do anything for the people that she loves. Not even within reason. Like, if it makes no sense to do this thing, she's like, okay, and the world, I'm gonna save it. Even though it's so messed up, we're gonna make it a better world. The conclusion to her story obviously left me sobbing. Throne of Glass broke my heart, but then like shattered it, but then like glued it back together, but like it's still not completely whole because there's like little tiny pieces missing. It's my favorite thing ever. Nothing will ever compare. Yeah, she's number 1. But that's the final list, guys. Oh, that was so hard to do. And I know, honestly, like, either give me your rankings in the comments below or like tell me like, hey, I agree with this one, or Brooke, you're insane. Why did you put that person there? And maybe I can come up with a reason, but we're just going off of vibes at this point, so don't blame me. If you made it all the way to this video, first of all, thank you. I love you. You are comment the fire heart emoji. Do I have to explain? No. And I will see you next time. Oh my god, that was so hard.